those draft when do you know questions seem to be popping up more and more each year. D-Bot has a question for you.
Yeah, and it's a great situation when you're going into a draft and you don't have to worry about the quarterback position. We know how important the trenches are, defense and everything else, but you're not going to win a championship without the quarterback, and you got one of the best ones in the league. And obviously we just got through the draft process, but I guess when did you know, because that was a deep draft in 2018 for the quarterbacks, when did you know that Josh was probably going to be the guy you wanted to bring in and build your team around?
Yeah, I mean, we spent a lot of time with all those guys through that process. I can remember it like it was yesterday, and it was a fun process, a stressful one, because we were sitting at 21 and 22 early in that spring, and so it's like, man, how are we going to get up there and get a guy like Josh? And he just – every step of the way, he just became more attractive to us. Beyond the physical skill set, which we just saw a young man in the making that was competitive just unbelievably competitive, really, really smart. We did a lot of stuff from the mental side of things, and then just a quick processor, which we know the speed of the game, you got to be able to understand pre-snap, but then you got to process when things change the ball to snap. And so he had all that. We just thought the biggest thing he needed to do was work on his mechanics, work on his feet, his base, arm angles, all the things that he continually worked on. And this guy, everywhere we got, he was going to be a tireless worker. You don't need to challenge him. He challenges himself way more, and he's always been that way than we've ever needed to. And so we just felt like this guy's going to – you go back to my opening press conference when there was questions about Josh Rosen, that we got from – we brought that up yesterday. But, there was a lot of questions why we took Josh Allen over Josh Rosen, and I was explaining in that press conference, you go back, this guy is Buffalo through and through. He is blue collar. You are going to love this guy way beyond the player of how he fits this community. And, they after that, and they gave him a chance, they embraced him, and he loves Buffalo as much as Buffalo loves him.
Yeah, he is he's special, man. Like, especially with the way he handles Buffalo and the way your teams have had to evolve with him at quarterback in Buffalo. And you talked about his work ethic. It's like from year 1 to year 2, insane jump. Year 2 to year 3, insane jump. Year 3 to year 4, insane jump. Usually there's like one big growth from somebody. Oh, they learned this. Oh, they figured this out. For him, it was like 4 straight years of like, oh, this guy's getting even better and better. So much so that now people call him like the prototype. Like, what are you're looking for somebody that is like Josh Allen, has the ability to run, power, and speed, has the ability to throw very far, and has touch, has a teammates locker room that loves him and works his ass off, seemingly, from all accounts that we've been able to witness from the outside. He becomes a prototype. Was it always a high football IQ operation with Josh Allen as well? Tone has a question for you.
Yeah, Bean, we actually showed yesterday on the show Brian Daboll running quarterbacks through last year's draft board work and stuff like that. You're shaking your head, so I assume you saw it. Was Daboll doing that to Josh and those quarterbacks back then in 2018?
Yeah, I mean, we had a whole thing, and what we said we were going to do was we were going to treat each quarterback the same as far as how you test them, what tests you're going to send them. Like Daboll would teach them stuff and then send them a test, and then when we got there, they would have to perform a test on their own, like a written test, and then we go in a meeting room, and Daboll would teach them stuff on the board and have them go up there, and some of it would be timed, some of it wouldn't, but Josh, I mean, he just, no one picked it up quicker, no one, and there were these were some smart guys, but he really stood out from a mental standpoint, which was impressive. He was definitely smarter than, I would have imagined a rookie would have been at that time. And so it was just a matter of this guy had played at junior college in Wyoming, and some of these other guys had played at more major programs. So how long would it take him to transition? Honestly, we were hoping his first year that we didn't have to put him out there right away. Week 1, we didn't. We got smoked, and guys in the locker room were looking around like, hey, put that wild Bronco that's running around the practice field, throw him on the field. We'd rather lose with him than what we're doing right now.
Yeah, I remember him jumping over Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, Anthony Barr.
Yeah. I remember that one because the guy was standing straight up, seemingly. Yep. It was like
that was his second start. Yeah, we lost to the Chargers his first start at home, and it wasn't pretty, but he kept fighting, made some plays at the end, and then we were like 17, 18-point underdogs going to Minnesota. And same thing. That's when the leap, took off.
Okay, so you talk about him being great in that day ball meeting. We were watching those day ball meetings, and it was like, geez, that would be. You got no ball? I mean, you're gonna get exposed in there if you don't know ball. Like, that's gonna be very evident. I don't need you to bury anybody, obviously. Okay. But story of this draft, one of them, especially on networks I believe you were watching, Shedeur Sanders drops from like top 3 pick to a 5th round draft pick to the Cleveland Browns. People thought the Cleveland Browns would take him at number 2. They take him in the 5th round, actually. So then there was anonymous reports, which we all hate, just like let everybody know. Anonymous reports, anonymous sources. Get out and say.
I agree. I hate that too.
It affects your job too a lot, though, doesn't it?
Yeah. Let's just, if we're going to do anonymous, let's just say it out if we're going to take shots at people.
Boom. This is what I'm saying. Okay, so you probably heard this. So anonymous sources were telling people that he had like the worst meetings that have ever happened, or worst team one-on-one meetings that have ever happened. How would a meeting go bad if a meeting was to go bad? And what does that mean if that is true from what his anonymous sources are saying? In your eyes, in your world. Not with Shedeur, but in your world, if it's ever happened.
Yeah. I don't know. I would say maybe if a guy was just kind of half-assing it through the, hey, sometimes you see, hey, my work spoke for itself. Like, they're kind of not, like, you either like me or you don't, kind of thing. I could see that happening. Beyond that, the only thing that could really hurt would be where, if you don't think mentally, you have to be very smart. You got to be able to call the play, understand the play. You got to know where everyone's lining up. You got to be able to know what the defense is doing. There's so much mentally on these quarterbacks' plate. And so there is a threshold that you're like, man, I don't know if that guy is smart enough to run our offense at the level that would be the only, other than being disrespectful or nonchalant, like, take me if you like me. If you don't, then I'm fine. That would be the only other way.
What an interesting thing, because there's stories of like Peyton interviewed teams whenever he was coming out allegedly. That's allegedly. That was like the old fairy tale or folklore about what happened. Then Gronk said he had a terrible meeting.
Horrible.
Fell
asleep.
New England. Yeah, with the New England Patriots one somehow, and he got drafted there. And then you hear stories of these types of meetings happening, and then a guy who's supposed to be a top 5 ends up in the 5th round. I mean, that was a wild.
Yeah.
That was a wild situation.
We had a quarterback one year in Carolina that we brought in. I'm not going to name him. And he met up with a receiver that he knew. They didn't play at the same college, but we had the receiver in on these 30 visits. They met up and they went out the night before. The receiver was flying out and he was supposed to meet with us. And we couldn't find him for like 3 hours that morning. He was in his room and he was passed out. And so we put him on a plane.
Brady Quinn.
Yeah, that's a bad meeting. I guess that would be a bad meeting there.
So that was a no meeting, and we took him off the draft board. But he did get drafted. He probably learned a lesson, and he played in the league.
He did play in the league?
He played in the league. It didn't turn out great, but he did play.
Did it turn out how you were projecting it?
After that, probably so.
Oh, not before that though. Thought was going to be potentially great.
Yeah, I had some talent. Yeah, he wasn't a great athlete, but a pocket passer with a strong arm.
It'll get you. It'll get you. It'll get you down in Charlotte. Charlotte will get you. Good con down there.
Fun city.
It's good con down there.